everyone and welcome to the 456th meeting of Central Delhi Toastmasters Club. So today, let's start the meeting with a super fun challenge that I have for all of you. So I would like some volunteers first to take the challenge. It's a tongue twister challenge. Who would like to come first from the physical stage? Come on, yes, Karani. I'll be giving you some. This is the tongue twister. Let me read it first. Okay. Give Papa a cup of proper coffee in a proper coffee cup. Come on, Karani.
Give Papa a cup of proper coffee in a proper coffee cup. Give Papa a cup of proper coffee in a proper coffee cup. Give Papa a cup of proper coffee in a proper coffee cup.
Thank you so much, Karani. Now, someone from the virtual stage who would like to volunteer?
PM Sparshita has raised her hand.
Okay. PM Sparshita, our tech master, would write the tongue twister in the chat box. It goes like with the wrist watches.
Okay. Which switch the Swiss wrist watches? Which switch the Swiss wrist watches? Which switched the Swiss wrist watches?
Wow.
That was great. It seemed you had learned it earlier only. So someone from the physical stage. Come on, let's. Okay, thank you, Toastmaster. Okay, it goes like, how much wood would woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck would chuck wood? How much wood would woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck would chuck wood?
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck would a woodchuck wood? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck would a woodchuck wood? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck would a woodchuck wood? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck would a woodchuck wood? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck would a woodchuck wood?
That was great, Anmol. Thank you for coming. Okay, so with the less of time, one last from someone from virtual stage. It's a simple one. You can raise your hand, guys. Virtual audience.
Rashmi ma'am.
Okay. So the tongue twister goes like, she sells seashells at the seashore.
She sells seashells at the seashore. She sells at the seashore. She sells seashells 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 at the seashore.
That's great. Thank you so much, Rashmi. On that note, let me call upon the president of our class, Toastmaster Karanveer Singh. He is currently pursuing his bachelor's from IT University and is someone who I can reach anytime and anyone from the club can reach anytime for the help. So, Toastmaster Karanveer.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and all the guests who have joined us virtually. Welcome to meeting number 456 of Central Delhi Toastmasters. I would like to start by 30 seconds of world peace. I request all of us close our eyes. Thank you very much. In the past few weeks, since it's the renewal month going on, I got an opportunity to interact with a wide number of members, not just our club, but in other clubs also. And I was trying to figure out the reason why some of us renew without thinking. Thank you. I was trying to think what are the reason why some of us, there are two set of Toastmasters. One who are always like, okay, I'm going to renew for sure. There's no doubt about it, because I understand that this is something which will go on a side and it will continue to give me that value. But on the other side, there are other set of humans. One set is who joined Toastmasters and they found some value, but they eventually forgot, literally forgot. It was like a gym for them. They joined excitedly, but as soon as they started missing the meeting every week, they missed it for 1 week, came another, then missed for 2 weeks together, and maybe then never came back. There were such members in the club. And coming third, there were people who were genuinely not able to find time for themselves, and they chose to shift to a different club. Having said that, it's always up to us how we want to create our life. For me, coming to this meeting every Tuesday is always a challenge. Even today, I was somewhere else and I rushed to this venue. I was late by a few minutes. My expected time of reaching here was 6, but I reached somehow by 6:05. I remember how I rushed here so that I can come here and ensure everything is settled out. I felt that sense of responsibility because Toastmasters is giving me that kind of work. And I hope that you also get that kind of value. How do you think will you get that kind of value? That is up to you. You need to talk to people in the Toastmasters fraternity, in your club, to your fellow Toastmasters, ask your question, ask your doubt, and then take this journey to the next level. I would like to now acknowledge the presence of distinguished Toastmasters, past international president. We do not have any guests in the physical room today, but I suppose, do we have any guests in the virtual room today?
We have Pragati here.
We
don't have any guests.
All right, thank you so much. Now let's continue with the meeting ahead. Now it's time to call upon stage someone who is very experienced with this stage, but he's always eager to learn. He likes to experiment things, and when he was told about there's an ISC contest coming up, he said, "Oh, come on, I'm going to do it. I'm a contest junkie." Please help me welcome our TMOD of the day, Distinguished Toastmaster Sabari Giri, with his theme "Mind Your Language." Mind Your Language, Toastmaster Sabari Giri.
President of Central Delhi Toastmasters Club, DTM Deepak Menon, fellow Toastmasters, and boys and girls. Welcome to this meeting, and I consider this a great privilege to be here today as a Toastmaster. But to do justice to it, I have to unmask myself to talk to you directly. Now, having said that, I find that my tongue is all twisted and turned, courtesy Navya partly, and more importantly so because today we are going to talk about the twists and turns in English language. And that precisely is the theme of the day. Well, let me take you back 150,000 years ago. And if you were to take, would let me take you to your home then, you would of course be welcomed into the cave. The relatives of your forefathers and foremothers would be cavemen. And much more importantly, how will they communicate with each other would be through either gestures or grunts and groans. However, as human beings evolved 750,000 years later, we as a race were privileged to have what we call a language which had certain grammar or syntax, and it added a huge lot of meaning to it, or what we call semantics. Now, 750,000 years is just a speck in the evolutionary timeline. And how this miracle happened has invited
so many crackpots and geniuses to have their own theories of how the language is. But the fact remains that today there are 7,000 odd languages in the world, of which the one language, lingua franca, of the whole world is English. 1,000 million plus people speak this language, next only to Hindi, which is spoken by 100 million. So powerful is this language that it can be used to destroy generations, it can be used to build civilization. But yet in the heart of it, it has got innumerable, as I said, twists and turns, which actually makes it difficult for anybody to master it ever, including William Shakespeare, who introduced 1,786 words new into the English dictionary. Now, therefore, let's now focus upon the language, which is the lingua franca of Toastmasters, with due respect to the regional language Toastmasters club that we have. But this is what we use, and this is what we should speak in a perfect positive manner. Well, having said that, I would just like to introduce, there is no guest today. So I don't think we need to introduce the format of the meeting today. We will get on to it right into the meeting straight away. Now, I would just like to tell you that if I were to say that I went to the eye specialist and I knew that he was new, do you find something odd in it? I went to the eye specialist. Which eye is I? We do not know. I went to the eye specialist and I knew he was new. Which new? One with a K or what? Without a K. These are called the homophones. They sound similar but are spelled differently. But if I were to say that the athlete ran, the minute the shot went off, the athlete ran like a wind to take the lead. Imagine, the minute could be pronounced as minute, the wind could be pronounced as wind, and the lead could be pronounced as lead. So if you misread it, and if you do not read into the context, it could just be that the minute could become minute, the shot went off, the athlete ran like a wind to take the lead. The context makes all the difference. So having said that, I have to introduce to you a few of the major role players who are actually going to help the general evaluator later in evaluating the speech. Let me first of all introduce the timer for the day, whose favorite phrase is "Speak of the devil." Speak of the devil, and there we have Mohit Yadav.
Thank you, TM Modi. A very good evening to fellow Toastmasters. English is indeed a funny and mysterious language. It can be attributed to the fact that there are certain rules, and sometimes there are no rules at all. For example, there is no egg in eggplant, there is no ham in hamburger, there is neither pine nor apple in pineapple. I can see that some of you are convinced that English is indeed a mysterious language, but I can see some disapproving faces over here as well. Let me illustrate you with the help of an example. Now, GHOTI. Can anyone of you guess how it is pronounced? Anyone on the physical stage? Yeah. But it can also be pronounced as fish. Let me. Now, I know some of you are very shocked here, but let me explain you how. Now, GH in inner can be pronounced as F. O in women can be pronounced as I. TI in nation can be pronounced as S. So if you can see, it can be pronounced as fish. This is a classic example of the mysteries of English language. Now, timing is very important in English language. Timing of pauses, timing of semicolons, timing of colons can make or break a sentence. Similarly, timing is extremely important in this particular meeting as well. So I will be the strict monitor of the class, which everyone used to hate because his teachers fed. I will be that time master of this meeting, which will ensure that every speaker speaks adhere to the time limit. Now I request Tech Master to show the time limit. Now for the icebreaker session, I will flag a green card when the speaker speaks for more than 4 minutes, and I will flash the green card for other speakers when they speak for more than 5 minutes. For table topic speakers, it would be 1 minute, and for speech oriented, it would be 2 minutes. I will flash a yellow card when an icebreaker session, the speaker speaks more than 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 1.5 for table topic, and 2.5 for speech oriented. Similarly, red card will be flashed respectively for 6, 7, 2, 3 minutes respectively, as you can see on the screen. And buffer time of 30 seconds will also be given to the speakers, except the table topic speakers who have to speak, whose buffer time of 30 seconds will be only on the higher end. Now, I will get back to you with my evaluation report. I will give the stage to TMOD to describe the intricacies of English language. Thank you, TM.
Well, intricacies of English language is exactly what the timer did when he presented this role. But at the same time, I would just like to remind him about an old joke about Einstein walking on a busy street, came across a young boy who just asked him, "What is time?" He stood there, made this boy stand there and listen to the definition of time as an entity which does not have a beginning or an end. In the end, the boy had to actually tap him and said, "I said, sir, what is that time?" That D made the difference, time and the time. Moving forward, I have someone here who has walked all the way from being just a Toastmaster like me to all the way up, climbing many mountains, many peaks, scaling and submitting the ultimate theme of being the international president of the Toastmasters of India. We are privileged to have here today Deepak Menon, who believes that leadership is all about walking the talk and talking the walk. Deepak Menon.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, it's quite a privilege for me to be standing here in front of you on this lectern after such a long time. And indeed, today I am your language evaluator. A little while ago, the Toastmaster of the day stole my thunder by talking about homophones. Yeah, do you remember? He mentioned homophones. What are homophones? Anybody? Can you tell me? Words that sound the same but are spelt differently are homophones. Sometimes they are the same word. I mean, they're spelled exactly the same but sound differently. Right? He said wind and wind, lead and lead. Those are homographs. They are actually not homophones. They are homographs. And today, the word that I've chosen for you is a homograph. Attribute. So, what is the attribute that you see in our Toastmaster of the day? Can you name an attribute that you see in him? Confidence, skill. So, attribute as a noun is the characteristic of a person or something, right? That's the attribute. Now, what do you attribute the success of our president to? What is the attribute, or what is it that you can attribute to our president's success? Hard work, persistence. So that is what is attributed to our president's success. So the attribute here, which is used as a verb, means the cause. What is the cause, right? So therefore, you can use attribute when you're using it as a verb, when you're talking about the verb as the cause, and when you're talking about the characteristic, then it's attribute. And that is, as you mentioned, the confidence in our Toastmaster of the day is
one of the best attributes that he possesses. Right? So that's how you're going to use it in a sentence. Now you might wonder, are there other homophones and homographs as well? Do you think you can name some? Some examples we got here. Do you think you can name some such homographs or homophones?
Read and read.
Read and read.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Anything else? Anybody
Air.
else?
Air.
Air and
AIR air and HEIR air.
okay, well that's more or less same, but the hair is pronounced a little differently. But HEIR air and AIR air are indeed similarly pronounced but different spelling. So what does that make it?
Oh.
Those are homophones, exactly. Those are homophones. And you can also call these together. So homograph and homophones together are also called homonyms. Homograph and homophones together may still be called homonyms. Excellent. Now, before I leave you, I'm going to give you a little tip. Today, when you are speaking, try to make your language extremely vivid. Paint a picture while you're speaking. For instance, I could say, I was walking down that road in a very crowded space. Instead, I could say, I was walking down this sunlit pavement made of cobblestone and surrounded by this bustling crowd of people of all ages and generations. And they were wearing such vivid colors. All the hues of the rainbow were visible. Now, which sentence or which statement made you visualize the entire experience that I was having? The second one, right? The first was very bland. It was like a black and white movie. While the second gave you a vivid image of what I was experiencing. Correct? So try and make your speech or whatever you say vivid so that I can imagine that experience exactly as you experience. Happy speaking, Mr. Toastmaster. Well, the attribute that I cherish the most, thumbs up or do you what is the attribute that I cherish the most in a Toastmaster like DTM Deepak Menon is his passion. And shall I say that, shall I attribute this to his years and years of training in Toastmasters? Well, attribute in both ways. We will proceed from here to someone who is going to take you off the crutches that you generally have when you speak. And he is called an accountant. And he believes no idiom is good for him, no word, no phrases, but he would like to quote Einstein and say that if you are going to judge a fish ability to climb a tree, then the whole life would be spent feeling that he is an absolute idiot. Over to the R counter of the day, Kana. So today I'm going to be the R counter. Sometimes in our life, we tend to use language with a filler word, like I just used, and still continuing to use it while my speech. So we should always keep our language in mind our language so that it doesn't destroy the meaning of our words. So today I am going to be the R counter and keeping a note of your R's, and short pauses and long pauses. Thank you. Thank you, Kana. And we today have someone who's going to keep the rules of the house within the house to be followed strictly, and he is the parliamentarian. And now this parliamentarian has got immense interest in the idioms of English language, and he says that he needs someone to break his leg to actually come here and make his presentation. So breaking the leg, of course, means lots of good luck to him. Pradyuman.
Thank you, dear Modi. My name is Pradyuman and I will be your parliamentarian for the day. Now, my role includes making sure that the members are aware of the code of conduct and discipline, which attributes to the smooth and transient proceedings of this meeting. It is very interesting how my role today directly correlates with the theme of the day. The discipline of language and the orderliness of words, just like in today's meeting, are also applicable to speakers and the role players using vocabulary, words, which are specific to the content, to the topic that they are talking about. And with this, within a specific domain, a lot of speakers use jargon, abbreviation, slang, certain words which we don't understand. And these words help improve the quality of a speaker. To ensure this discipline in the meeting, I would request everyone in the virtual room to keep their audio on mute at all times unless absolutely necessary. Phones should be kept on silent throughout for the meeting, and their usage should be restrained unless asked for. Video of all members should be visible throughout the meeting. Members shouldn't indulge in any form of meeting while on screen. It tends to distract the speakers as they end up reading certain words. No negative references to caste, race, or class to be made. Sensitive topics, if needed be, shall be talked about with utmost care and concern. And with this, I encourage everyone to follow the rules. I would be presenting my final report in that. Thank you, dear Modi.
Thank you, Pradyuman, for reminding us of the rules with which we conduct ourselves here, and I'm sure the entire crowd who gathered here today, as well as those who are on the digital space, will follow these rules. We also have someone who has got a keen ear, so to say. He has to actually receive all the auditory inputs that are going to be generated from here and from the digital space, and not just that, he will process them and give it back to you to check whether you were hearing what he was hearing. Ladies and gentlemen, here is someone who is so cute, so handsome, wonderful guy to look at, to talk to. But he says his favorite word in English language is ripple. Make out what you can.
Thank you for the amazing introduction, Timon. Good evening, everyone. My name is Anmol, and I'll be playing the role of a listener for today's meeting. So, have you guys ever heard of this phrase or idiom? It takes two to tango. Well, it's used in a lot of positive and negative connotations, but let me explain it to you what it is for the people who don't know. It basically means it takes the efforts of two parties to make something effective. So in case of communication, it takes a good speaker, and to complement that, it takes a good listener to attribute to effective communication. So I urge all of you to keep your ears open, and I'll be meeting you guys back at the evaluation segment when I'll ask you a couple of questions to see if you really kept your ears open. With that, I would like to thank you guys, and back to Timon.
Thank you, Anmol, and everything is worth it if it begins with a bit of a laugh. And here we have today someone who's going to deliver a joke and make you much more than just laugh. And basically, he's a very, very humorous person, and you know what I'm speaking about. And let me introduce this person, and that person is Pragati Jain, and her favorite words are basically, and you know. Pragati, if you're on the online page, please come on.
Here I am with my jokes. I was coming back from Kolkata to Delhi with my friend Pushpa. We reached airport and stood in the line of baggage dropping. There, we were informed that a flight is 1 hour late. And there I was. I was pretty quiet and calm. And my friend, I have a theory that the people who are born with crying and they are still continuing the habit of crying. She was the same. She was like, oh my God, these unprofessional people, can't they inform us earlier? I hate waiting at airports. She was looking at me for the validation, but I said no. It's better to wait at airports than what we used to wait at railway stations. In India, if you have tasted the wait of railway station, it is a privilege to wait at airport. Earlier, we used to check our flight tickets and train tickets and go through which are the cheaper medium, and we used to calculate those things. And train journeys used to be of minimum 1 day or 24 hours or less than 24 hours. But now what happens if you're traveling by air, mind it, by air, then what people will say, oh no, I have to travel again tomorrow for 2 hours flight? No way, we can't do this. When we used to travel by air, earlier I'm talking about, we used to pray that our flight should get delayed. The reason why? So that we can enjoy our airports. But not anymore, my friends. As the kids and friends around, the shopping bill at the airport will exceed the total amount of the tickets made for the destination. And all of you must know that airport has become a major shopping destination. It's a matter of privilege that even temperature at the airport is of at control. They keep at 21, 23 or whatsoever. But if the temperature in the sunny and hotter summer like this, if the temperature is 45 outside, and in winter especially, if the temperature is zero, less than zero, but at airport you will feel so relaxed and calm, and life is chill there. But on a railway station, if the temperature is 45, you'll feel like 50-degree, and the same vice versa. At airport, things are managed properly, proper signage boards and everything's are created, where to go and how to do things and things like that. But at station, there'd be written, beware of pickpocketers, and please keep things at your custody, your own goods at your own custody. Finally, the last one. And at airport, we show our kids, come, bacha, this is a runway. I'll show you the runway. But at railway station, we keep pulling our kids back. Why? They don't fall off the track. And we are not worried about if they'll get hurt. We are worried about who will wash them, because half of the Indian population do their morning rituals there. Thank you so much, Toastmasters. Over to
Thank you, Pragati. The punchline was in the morning issues of Indian football. Well, we will now proceed to the main segment of the today's meeting, and that's the beef of the matter lies in the prepared speeches. Today we have two prepared speeches, one by a fairly senior Toastmaster and the other one by someone who is actually breaking the ice. Am I right? No, she's not. She will be giving her third project today. Third, fourth? She's not sure of herself. Wonderful. So therefore, let me first of all introduce the speaker, the first speaker today. I feel she has been the inspiration for me to even think about this title about mind your language, essentially because she deserves to be called a wordsmith. She is the one in the group who started about passing around the idioms and asking people to explain about it. I'm sure that you would have already guessed this elegant lady with elegance in prose, spoken or written. May I now request the evaluator for the this speaker, who is going to be TM Vedant, or is it going to be TM Rizvik? TM Rizvik, if you are online, can you read out the objectives of the speech that this speaker is going to speak now? Rizvik? Rizvik, can you come online, please? On camera with you. If he is not there in the meeting room, I would just request one of you to take over the evaluation for the speaker. Karan, why don't you do that? So we have a new evaluator here. He may not be familiar with the objectives, but we will leave it as we go by, and it's going to be a TM. Currently, it is going to be the evaluator for her. Let me introduce that lady whom I said has got a fine sense of English language, and that is Toastmaster Rashmi Sikri. And the title of her speech is Punctuality, a Blessing. Punctuality, a Blessing. Toastmaster Rashmi Sikri. Stage is yours.
Hello, friends. How many of you are in a habit of attending a function or an event at the scheduled time? Can you give me a raise of hand or show of hands in the virtual meeting room? Thank you very much. And how many of you believe that Indian Standard Time means getting delayed to the event, meeting, or function? Show me your hand, please. I cannot see anybody's hand in physical meeting. Okay, thank you very much. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Well, surveys have shown that most of the Indians, they believe that getting late or delayed for the meeting, for the events, or for the functions is absolutely fine. And dear friends, pandemic has taken this attitude to next level. Yes, yesterday only when I was on duty in pre-board exams for class 2, a boy named Rohit came running after 10 minutes. And after him came the PTI teacher. Rohit, why are you late? Don't you know the time for exam? Ma'am, actually I got a plate. What? Yes, not only I and my colleague were shocked. Rather, I wanted to share with him one incident, one lesson that I had learned years ago, but I couldn't because the exam had already begun. Well, Rohit started attempting his paper and I was transported to year 2017. When I and my daughter were staying in DLF apartments for 3 days, and we used to commute from there to Delhi for her entrance exams. On the 3rd day of her exam, when we were having breakfast, we happened to talk to the manager about the examination center. Somehow, he misguided us. He said, this examination center is not very far off. So don't worry. Dear friends, we had Googled the information. We had the information. Yet, unfortunately, we believed him. And as a result, at the nick of the time, we began our journey. While we were traveling, my daughter realized that we could get late. And she started crying. I started praying and nothing else could be done. But her tears melted the heart of the driver. He sped the car very fast and landed us on the gates exactly at 8 o'clock. My daughter rushed inside and the gates were closed and locked. Yes, dear friends, few minutes later only,
5 to 10 students arrived there by bus. They started requesting the gatekeeper to let them in. But the gatekeeper didn't listen. The principal of that institute was standing in the veranda of the premises and watching the scene. The children started crying and whining and shouting. They started requesting the principal, but all in vain. The people around, the parents like me, they started requesting with folded hands to the principal to let them in. But all requests, all pleadings fell on the deaf ears. Only one thing was said by the principal. It is the law of the land to reach here 15 minutes before the exam begins, and the law has to be respected. After that, he went away. The children were left high and dry. They went away from there empty-handed. But dear friends, I as a spectator was aghast. Chill ran down my spine, and that day I realized how disastrous it could be not to be punctual. And I understood that day that most of the Indians underestimate the importance of punctuality. Yes, dear friends, if you become punctual, means you start respecting time. And as a result, you start achieving your goals well in time. And what happens then? You become one of the most sought after and one of the most respected person all around. Look at your parents or grandparents. Look at the great people in India as well as all over the world. What do they have in common? All of them have proved one thing. Time and tide wait for now. So here are some tips. If you follow them, you can really do wonders. First, you should get up early in the morning and you should try to schedule small tasks daily. But it may be easier said than done. Then take the help of your parents, teachers, friends, and above all, technology. You can download some habit trackers or take help of alarms, etc. Believe me, last of all, you must resolve not to procrastinate, because this attribute never attributes to the success of anyone. If you follow these tips, soon you will be humming. We shall overcome, we shall overcome, we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. Yes, dear friends, with this, you are surely going to make punctuality your trademark and come out with flying colors one day. Thank you.
Well, Rashmi, you have actually reinforced the first testament of the Toastmasters that everything is counted in minutes, seconds, and probably milliseconds. And punctuality is the most crucial attribute that all the Toastmasters should really have. Having said that, I must tell you that her favorite idiom in English language is to come out with flying colors. She just gave a demonstration of doing that herself today. Thank you so much. And we have today the next speaker. And this speaker is being evaluated by Vedant, who's going to evaluate her. But I have to tell you the story about this Toastmaster who does not know which project she is doing, which project she is doing, which part she is doing, but she is here every meeting, day in and day out, without fail. Such is her commitment that today, in the last moment, one of the speakers who were supposed to do this speech today backed out 20 minutes prior to the start of the meeting. There she comes saying that I'm going to give you the speech. All your crimes are condoned. And here I would request, before she starts speaking, the evaluator of the day, Vedant, to say the objectives of the speech if she can actually spell out which project she is doing.
Thank you, Timod. Today we have Toastmaster Shanti. She will be giving her level 2, project 2 speech on the topic on the path of visionary communication, and the objective of the speech is to understand the communication style. The timing for the speech is 5 to 7 minutes, and the cards will be shown at the adequate time. So I wish her all the best. Thank you. Thank you, Timon.
It's my proud privilege to invite on stage Toastmaster Shanti for her speech titled Independence versus Interdependence. Independence versus interdependence, Toastmaster Shanti.
So, half an hour back, Karanveer called me and tells me that I have to give a speech. And I don't even remember my project. I've not even seen what is the resource, nothing I've seen. So I decided, he even gave me the idea that whatever is going on in my mind right now, let's talk about it. So first I decided on what I wanted to talk about, and then I came to the room and I saw what was my objective. And it was about understanding my communication style. And I don't know the actual communication style because I've not seen the material, but I do know that from my experience, I have been a blogger, and from my experience, I have seen that I try to relate everything with my life. I try to give the example of my life. And with that, I try to get a philosophy. And that philosophy I try to tell people. That's how is my communication style. If I have to speak something, then I first have to write it down. I'm a writer first and then only a speaker. So, but this time I didn't get time to write, so I'm speaking directly on a topic which I have most recently blogged, which is about independence and interdependence. Now, we are belonging to a Eastern culture. The world, on a broad basis, we talk about it as Western world and Eastern world. And we belong to the Eastern world, the South Asian countries like India and Bangladesh, and the Asian countries like Japan, Korea. And on the Eastern side of things, we believe in community. We give more importance to community. Whereas the Western world gives more stress on individualism, on independence, being independent. And I've always thought about which is correct. Is the Eastern side correct? Is the Western side correct? Now, being an Eastern side person, I would value some principles of community living, but at the same time, I would wonder if maybe I was given a little more freedom, a little more independence from the societal norms, maybe I would have been more happy, more content. And so this question had always gone in my mind. And there comes for the rescue a book called The 7 Habits of Effective People by Stephen Covey. And in that book, I read this beautiful concept that as human beings, we start from being dependent, and then we go to being independent, and then from independence, we go towards interdependence. So the Western philosophy, what they say is independence, and we are more towards interdependence. Now, there is no independence versus interdependence. Both are involved. According to the author, we are toddlers. When we are toddlers, we cannot do anything by our own. And if we are left at the toddler stage, if we are abandoned at the toddler stage, then we cannot fend for ourselves. The only chance is to die. So sometimes life is not really in our hands, especially when we are in the dependent stage. But from the dependent stage, we go into the independent stage. And the independent stage is when we start questioning about everything and anything, the teenage phase, the rebellious phase. As a dependent person, we get all of the cultures and philosophies and ideas of our parents and the people that are around us. And as we move towards the individual stage, we try to get our own ideas. We try to think on our own. We develop our own mental skills and our ideas about life. And that's where Western world is. They have their own ideology. And then once we become independent, once we are whole on us by ourselves, then comes the interdependent stage, wherein we start cooperating with other people. We start thinking of family. We start placing importance on not just the husband or kids, which is your new family, but also as well as parents. Parents have been there for a long time, but only after you go to the interdependent stage is when we actually start caring about our parents. As children, we are very selfish. We don't care about them. So that is the interdependence. Now, the Eastern world, which is interdependent, has an issue, even though it feels like we are moving from independence to interdependence. So maybe Eastern world is at the highest place, but no. We directly go from dependent to interdependent. There is no independent stage in between. We are not given a space wherein we have our own ideas. We are not allowed most of the time. We are not allowed. We are little controlled about independence. So the Eastern world needs to understand that before going into interdependence, we need to go through independence. We need it okay to have our own ideas. We are going to get there. We are going to value community at the end. And the Western world needs to know that they need to move from independence to interdependence. It is the final stage. Independence is not the end. And with that, I come to the end of the speech. And hopefully, with what I have told, with the kind of communication style I have, I was able to organize my thoughts properly and convey the message in the way I intended. Thank you so much.
This is what she can do without a script. I can imagine actually what she is going to do with a script. It will be amazing to hear you again, Shanti. But having said that, I must just tell you from my personal experience, interdependence, dependence, and independence. Matrimony does a lot of things to a lot of people. 30 years back, when I was young and I always wanted to be dependent, I also wanted to be independent and hated the concept of being dependent on anything. But 3 decades later, I love the idea of being dependent and hate the idea of independence. That's what matrimony does to a lot of people. Now, if you think that we do not have enough amount of pyrotechnic is the Latin word used in English commonly for fireworks. This is the time for it. Here we have someone who is going to light up the sky with a whole lot of fireballs, not just the sky, but also in the stomachs and hearts of those people who are going to speak today under her. The table topics master is going to give you a topic about which you will have to speak for a minimum of a minute and maximum of 2 minutes. And that person who is actually going to conduct the session is Toastmaster Sparshita Verma, who of course believes or loves the word called esoteric, which means very exclusive. But I am sure that she is going to give you topics which are not esoteric, which are plain, simple, with clarity. Sparshita, the stage is yours for as the table topics master for today's meeting.
Thank you, Timot. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. So here comes the funniest segment of the meeting, the table topics session. Table topics enable one to develop the skill of impromptu speaking, an attribute of a good speaker. With this, the rules of the segment would be: to volunteer, you have to raise your hands. If chosen, you will be given a topic to speak upon for a minimum of 1 and for a maximum of 2 minutes with a buffer time of 30 seconds only on the upper hand. With this, I encourage everyone to take part in the segment. And let's have a first volunteer here. So someone please raise your hand. Okay, so we have TM Rashmi. So for sharing the topic, I just share my screen.
You can even ask others first who are in physical mode. Later on, I can take up.
Would anyone from the physical stage want to volunteer?
Or Apurva is also ready.
Okay, so we can carry on with Apurva. So I share my screen now. Just a second. Is the screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so TM Apurva, what's the weirdest food combination you have made and tried? What's the weirdest food combination you have made and tried? TM Apurva.
Well, thank you, Sparshita, and good evening, everyone. Now, the topic which is given to me is what's the weirdest food combination I've ever made and tried. Well, to be honest with you all, I'm not into cooking. I'm really not into cooking. I really don't know how to cook and all. But once I have tried to make was the pasta, and it was a red sauce pasta which I tried, but somehow it got worse at the end. I somehow overcooked it, and the taste was very much got so spicy, and it was so a little bit burnt, you know. So my mother, after that, my mother scolded me a lot that if you're not into cooking, then at least try a little bit in a proper way. But I couldn't, because I try so hard, but this is the one thing in my life which I really can't do. Even if I tried my best, then also something bad will happen to me. That's all.
Thank you, TM Apurva, and I pray that you may become the best chef in the world someday. Okay, so we can have a next volunteer here. Could someone help me to find the volunteer? I'm not able to see the speaker's view.
Okay. We have Toastmaster Ankit raising his hand.
All right. So Toastmaster Ankit, if you could choose your dreams, what would you prefer to dream about? If you could choose your dreams, what would you prefer to dream about? Toastmaster Ankit.
Thank you so much, Madam Topic Master, and good evening, everyone. Good evening. If I get chance to choose my dream, that means this thing gives me an impressive hope, a thing which I cannot do in real life. I can go there, start doing. So, in dreams, yes, I would love to fly. Because whenever I see the bird, the manner in which they fly from one point to another, and they actually enjoy the life. Because I believe the life is there on the earth, rather on the plane is different. And life is much more beyond that in the sky. Because I have seen so many Marvel movies, there are many planets. So I would love to go there and witness how things are happening there, whether they need any superhero there, or I can acquire some power, or be there, or settle there, or start doing. So these are the, you can say, it's the weirdest kind of dream, but at least in dream, anything and everything is possible. And rather than if I get chance to become one of the superheroes, then Avengers series will begin. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, and the entire Ankit universe will begin. So I hope I would be able to do this. Thank you for this topic, and over to the topic.
Thank you, TM Ankit. May you become the bird or definitely a superhero in your next life. Okay, so we can have a next volunteer. And somebody please help me to find one.
I would like to try Sparshita.
Okay. Toastmaster Rashmi, how do you describe millennials or Gen Z? How do you describe millennials or Gen Z? Toastmaster Rashmi.
Good evening, fellow friends. Millennials or Gen Z. You know, before joining Toastmasters, as I am a teacher, over the years, I was seeing the degrading attitude of millennials or Generation Z. And no doubt, I used to see that they are tech savvy, they are very fast, active, intelligent than teachers sometimes. But on the other hand, I was watching that so many of them were losing values. So in a way, I always used to believe that children have kept the values at the back burner and they have become disrespectful as compared to my students earlier. But after I joined Toastmasters, especially CDTM family, this attitude changed completely. When I came across so many good attributes of the children, I realized, no, I was wrong. Millennials, the generation Z still is really good. On one hand, they are very fast, but on the other hand, they have not forgotten their values also. So look at so many people in CDTM who who 2 days ago, 1 day ago, 2 days ago, sorry, on Sunday, when I just messaged once that I'm going to visit Delhi and can anyone come and meet me? Look how generous they were. Their hospitality was incredible, and they proved to me that the generation Z still can rock and is the future of the world. So I have changed my attitude now, and I salute their attributes. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, TM Rashmi, and I definitely agree with your experience and views. Okay, so we can have our next volunteer now. Who wants to volunteer?
Can you please check the chat box, Toastmasters Prashita?
Sure. Okay, so we can have TM Sanchit now. So TM Sanchit, what's the silliest thing you are pretty good at? What's the silliest thing you are pretty good at, TM Sanchit?
Please repeat that.
What is the silliest thing you're pretty good at?
Okay. So what is the silliest thing I'm good at? Being an advocate, I know the art to turn the argument. I know the art how to influence anyone. I know the art how to fix a person into the bottle. And being a vice president membership since I think December, I learned too many things from Toastmaster Karthik Bhatia sir. I learned too many things from President Karanveer, how to turn a person's mind and get it into the bottle to join the Central Delhi Toastmaster Club here. But one thing is common in all these aspects, that is the truth, and that is the thing the Central Delhi Toastmaster provides to the guests. We all are here to learn something. We are the like-minded people, a common surroundings that learn to express themselves in a better way, to learn some creativity, to learn the leadership styles, to expand that into the into our schools, into our colleges, into our community, so that we will good or we become good at those particular things. So this was the all, and this is not a silliest thing, but this is a good thing I learned in Central Delhi Toastmaster itself. Thank you.
Thank you, TM Sanchit. And we all learned something at here. So yeah, I agree with this. We can have a next volunteer here. And I can request guest Astit to volunteer. Okay. Guest Astitva, would you go with aliens if they beam down to Earth? Would you go with aliens if they beam down to Earth? Guest Astitva.
Would you go to aliens if they were here? Good evening, everyone. So I'm a new member over here. My name is Astitva Mittal, and currently I'm an MBBS student from Maulana Azad Medical College. So the topic they have given me is that would I go with the aliens if they come down to Earth? Yeah, sure, definitely I would love to. See, the basic thing is, what I love is to explore new things. And if they're taking me somewhere that I already know everything about, I love to go with them. And aliens, they were taking to the multiverse. Now, everything that I can imagine now comes to my mind. They're taking to the spaceships, they're showing how things work on their planet, how their body mechanics work. Because I'm into body mechanics, how the body works. So I'd love to know how their body works. Is it similar to our body functioning? Is it different from that body functioning? And are there doctors with their access? And how is the hospitals run in the alien spaceship?
Thanks, Astel. And I would also like to go with them because I'm fed up with the people here. Okay, so I request Team Navya to go next. Okay, so TM Navya, if a movie was made of your life, what genre would it be and who would play you? If a movie was made of your life, what genre would it be and who would play you? TM Navya.
Thank you, Table Topic Master, Toastmasters Specialist, for this interesting topic. Okay, so if a movie would made on me, so I like two genres. First one is definitely comedy, and the second one is rom-com, which is a guilty pleasure. So I think most of you would laugh on this, but I would want my life to be on this character called oh God, I forgot the name of the character. There's this movie called To All the Boys I've Loved Before. And yeah, I understand. It's a guilty pleasure. I love watching that movie, and I think people of my age would agree. So there's this girl in the movie which I think I want my life like that girl. And plus, I think our generation is more towards the Western culture, inclined towards the Western culture. So I feel movies of like the US-based movies of teenage culture, and I think those movies are what I love watching. So that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, TM Navya, and I'll definitely watch the movie shared by you. Seems interesting. So we can have our next volunteer, the last one. Who wants to volunteer now?
One more.
Okay. So are we going to TM and Mole now?
Yes,
All right. So TM and Mole, have you ever been told you look like someone famous? Who was it? Have you ever been told you look like someone famous? Who was it? TM and Mole.
Thank you so much, TM Sparshita. You gave me a topic which I really like. Unfortunately. Well, so nobody has particularly told me that I look like someone, but there's a certain friend who took a liking to me, who said I look like a certain someone. Over the years, first it was Japanese boys, like a certain Japanese band, Korean band. After I met her after 2 years, but this was the girl of my dream. But after a while, I got into a movie and I saw a movie called Fight Club. In that movie, there's a certain character played by a certain someone. He's a minor actor. I think you guys probably know him. His name is Brad Pitt. You guys don't. Very minor. Yeah, he's very minor, right? That's what it first started. So first she said I look like Brad Pitt. Then I said I look like Brad Pitt. Then it went to a spiral where I started obsessing over Brad Pitt. Then I started Googling Brad Pitt. Then I wanted to make my hairstyle after Brad Pitt.
but I can never be Brad Pitt because Brad Pitt is Brad Pitt. That's about it. Thank you so
much. Thank you, TM and Mole. And we can have a next volunteer, a guest who wants to volunteer. I came to know about it recently. What was it? Could the tech master please confirm? Guest?
Piyush.
Guest Piyush. All right. Guest Piyush. I just share my screen. Okay. Guest Piyush, if you were a wrestler, what would be your entrance theme song? If you were a wrestler, what would be your entrance theme song? Guest Piyush.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to be the Rock, so the theme song would be Smell. But yeah, I think to be very honest, I would rather choose a song which I feel like it epitomizes me the best, which is मैं पल दो पल का शायर हूँ, पल दो पल मेरी कहानी है. And the reason for this is I would say that over the years I've seen myself move from one phase to another. I think we talked about how we moved from being a toddler to an elder to a teenager to an elder. I think the same really goes well with me as well. As a toddler, I used to be carefree myself, and then when I went to my teenage stage, started becoming a total carefree or like totally into studies, and then once I became a little more elder, then yeah, I think a lot of responsibilities and all of that started floating in as well. So feel like I think at every stage there has been movement from being absolute carefree to taking ownership of responsibilities, and I think that's where you feel like you're moving from one phase to another, and that's how you would say that, you know, पल दो पल का शायर हूँ, पल दो पल मेरी कहानी.
Thank you, guest Piyush, for sharing your experience with us. With this, I request the tech master to please raise the ballots for the best table topic speaker.
Spashita, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Back to Team Hot.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Toastmaster, Table Topics Master for the day, Spashita. I must just confess this, that there was a bunch of wonderful sparklers that lit up actually the meeting today. Thoughtful subjects, and you made the proof of the pudding is in those who came and actually spoke at length about all this. Thank you so much for a wonderful, exciting session. I think it is now time to take a pause because we have finished off the prepared speakers as well as the table topic, and therefore at this point of time I will request all those who are here as well as in the digital world to vote for the best speaker as well as, and after that for the best table topic speaker. Tech master, would you kindly coordinate to get the voting done?
For people in the virtual room, can you, if you are not in the WhatsApp group, please confirm, and the Sergeant at Arms will help you join the physical meeting WhatsApp group. We have already sent a link in the WhatsApp group. You will see it.
We got another 30 seconds to go for the voting. Yes. And those who are here, kindly pass on the checks for the best speaker. 10 to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and out. So there we are, back again in the meeting, and now is the time for me to invite the president of the club, to be on the stage to announce the monthly award of the Central Delhi Toastmasters Club. Over to you, President.
Thank you so much. Very good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Once again, the poll for the best table topic speaker will be done in the later part. Those are yet being prepared. For now, let's dive into the section where we need to acknowledge those people who have been working behind the scenes in the club. Every meeting when we come here, we get certain awards. Either we are the best speaker, evaluator, table topic speaker, or maybe an auxiliary role there. But beyond creating this experience of 2 hours is the effort of the whole team, along with the effort of an extended team who are not in an easy position, yet they dedicate some time and effort to learn and improve themselves and also the quality of their staff. To appreciate those members, we have certain awards in our club, which we give every month. The monthly awards of Central Delhi Toastmasters are as follows. I'll tell you what are the importance and the criteria, and also I'll tell you who has been the winner. These awards are being conducted for the month of Jan and February together, as those were not released earlier. The first award category is called the Screamer of the Month. Screamer of the Month is an award which is given to a member who is very active in the PR department. One, he or she helps in creating flyers, posters, videos, in promoting the flyers of the club, also writing captions. If these are skills you want to improve, do get in touch with VPPR. The person who has done a lot of effort in this and improved herself, for the month of January, the Screamer of the Month is Toastmaster Shivangi himself. Being the immediate past president, she had this curiosity of learning how to create flyers by herself. And as soon as her term ended, she was right there helping the PR department creating various flyers. For the month of February, the award goes to Toastmaster Darshan Singh. Toastmaster Darshan has been helping the PR with his captions. The YouTube video recordings that you see every week are edited and posted by him along with the thumbnails there. So thank you so much, Toastmaster Shivangi and Toastmaster Darshan. The second category of award is called the Comrade of the Month. This award is given on the basis of regularity to the club and help in the membership department. We have a dedicated set of people who are helping in the membership department called the membership squad of the club. But there are members who deserve to be appreciated, and the names were, in the month of January, we have decided the Comrade of the Month goes to Toastmaster Navya. For the month of February, the Comrade of the Month goes to Toastmaster Shanti. These people have been helping the members and the guests to understand what Toastmasters is and also helping them in joining the club. The third award goes to the Nurturer of the Month. This award goes to that person who has been taking roles regularly and not just taking up roles and not backing out, performing it really, really well. For the month of January, the award for Nurturer of the Month goes to Toastmaster Rashmi Sikri. For the month of February, the Nurturer of the Month of Central Delhi Toastmasters is Toastmaster Ankit Khanna. The fourth category of award is called the Budding Nurturer Award. This is for the members who have just joined the club and still have not given their icebreaker speeches. They have started taking up auxiliary roles and have been doing really well in that. To appreciate those members, for the month of January, the Budding Nurturer of the club is Toastmaster Bhavanand Jha. And for the month of February, we have Toastmaster Mayur. The fifth and second last category of the award is called the Out of the Box Nurturer Award. This stage gives you enough scope of creativity. It's up to you how you use it. There were a few members who expressed their creativity in various forms, and we have decided to appreciate for the month of January Toastmaster Vedant. And for the month of February, we have decided the out of the box nurturer is our TMOD of the day, Toastmaster Sabir. The last award is the most special one. It is called the Member of the Month. A person who has been helping the clubs in various departments, whether those are your educational goals or the membership department or the PR. These members were there throughout. There were multiple members for this because in the past 3 months, our extended team has been contributing a lot in the club's growth. So it was very difficult for us to choose these 2 names. For the month of January, it was Toastmaster Darshan Singh. You might have heard or received a text from Toastmaster Darshan asking about your role planning in Toastmasters or journey. Also, he has been reaching out to various guests to help them understand Toastmasters and pathways. The second member who has helped us a lot and deserves to be the member of the month is Toastmaster Navya Nikimakar. This member has been active in all the departments of Central Delhi Toastmasters, and not just active, the kind of effort she has put in has derived many results, and this is quite visible when she takes stage every meeting in the initial 2 minutes. The confidence level has increased a lot, and I wish both of them, Toastmaster Darshan and Toastmaster Navya, all the best for your future journey in Toastmasters. That was all for the awards today. If you are interested in knowing more about these awards, and if you are interested in knowing the opportunities which Toastmasters can give beyond these 2 hours of meeting, please reach out to any member in the EC and we'll take you from there. All the very best. Thank you so much, members, for helping the EC.
Thank you, President of the Club, Toastmaster Karanveer. We now have got a small gap in which, if the tech master is ready, we can vote for the table topics. We will have about 30 seconds to do that. Tech master, can you just confirm that the names are on? Not yet? Anyway, we will take a little more time for that since it's not ready yet. So we move on to the next segment. May I move on to the next segment?
Can we call for 5 minutes break?
All right. So says the President, we are going to have a break for 5 minutes. Now the time is 8:08, so we probably would be able to get back by 8:30. We will be back. Till then, out of order.
Pragati, are you there? Hi, Pragati, are you there? Parshita, are you there? Everybody
Yes,
has
ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
or have you gone for a break? That day, I also wanted to meet you and Navya also, but I think you people were busy.
Actually, I don't stay in Delhi, no?
Okay, where do you stay?
UP.
Which place?
West UP, Shamli.
Shamli, near Muzaffarnagar, before Muzaffarnagar.
Yeah.
Okay. So you study in Delhi?
Yeah, I was in LSR, so like when we used to have the physical classes, I was staying in a PG there.
But now the classes have started again.
I've completed my undergrad and nowadays I'm waiting for my final result of B school. So like the interviews are done, but the mid-April May I'll get the result, which college I'm getting.
You are going to do masters in?
MBA.
MBA. From where?
That's soon to be announced. Like I don't have the result right now. So a college.
Okay. That will be decided on the. You have given your entrance exam.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. That's good. Right. The topics were really interesting, and they made us think deeply. You know, so many topics were there where you had to imagine.
This is my last meeting too.
Why?
I'm not renewing.
Reason?
Reason being that I'm not getting that experience which I may get in the physical stage. The reason is this, and I don't know which location I'll be shifting to. Like the college is yet to be announced. So agar, like if I go to Lucknow, so it is more beneficial to join some club there only instead of joining this club right now. So
that day also I was saying sooner or later it might be possible that I would be alone sitting here.
No, you'll not be alone. I don't think so. Like
because most of Apurva Singh, are you there? Let me confirm. You belong to Delhi or some other place.
No, I stay in Delhi.
You stay in Delhi, so chances are less you can attend physical also.
I will definitely. It's just kind of stuck with the college stuff. I have so many presentations to do.
Okay, meeting is the people.
Which college you are in and what are you pursuing?
I'm pursuing masters in tourism and hospitality management from Ambedkar University. It's in Karampura campus.
Got it.
I think T-Mod is back.
Yeah.
I'll go.
So there we are back again in the club meeting, and now is the time to go to the last segment. And this is a set of policemen who have been watching everything what you were doing right through the meeting. As introduced earlier, there were a whole lot of role players, but I did not introduce at that time the super cop who actually takes care of that. She, along with her policemen, are going to give you a report on what went right and what went wrong. I do not have the freedom of her giving me a word or an idiom which she liked the best, but I can tell you that I will repay it with 3 idioms which will describe her role. For sure, she is going to shoot from the hip. And for second, she is not going to beat around the bush. And lastly, if I may say so, she will certainly call a spade a spade. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together to the general evaluator of the day, and that is Pooja Kutecha. Pooja, the stage is yours.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. Today, I'll be playing the role of a general evaluator. Evaluation is one of the most critical part of our club meetings as a Toastmaster, as it helps us to ensure that the objectives are met, from identifying problems to weakness, so that it can be rectified. Also, my role today is divided into 3 segments. First one being to introduce the evaluators for the prepared speeches. Secondly, introducing the role bearers like timers, counters, grammarian, joke master, and language evaluator for their respective reports. And lastly, conducting an overall evaluation of the meeting. Without further delay, I would like to call upon Toastmaster Vedant to evaluate the speech of Toastmaster Shanti. Over to you, Toastmaster Vedant.
Thank you, Jeev. Well, it was a fabulous speech prepared in just 20 minutes before the time. Then I think it's one of the best speeches that I have heard in this club. And you talked about philosophy. You were confident. Your hand gestures were perfect, and you made a very good eye contact with the audience. So that was some of the best things about you. But I thought that the speech would have been much better if you elaborated more about what type of freedom did you wanted, like your personal experience. You could have shared a bit more about it, and in the end, you could have also given the solutions to that problem, like to the India-specific solution that you said that the teenage years are where we fight our parents, like we try to become independent. So what change can be made in the system? Like, for example, in the Western countries, after your high school, you are given a 1 or 2 year time to basically explore different things and like understand yourself much better. So you could have given that sort of solution according to the Indian conditions. And I think apart from it, it was a fabulous speech, and I really loved the topic that you chose. Like you went from the dependent, then independent, then interdependent. Well, I am a college student right now, and I am in the independent stage. I am yet to arrive at the interdependent stage in my marriage, like if it happens in the future. So I think that's my whole review of your speech. And on that note, back to general evaluators. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Vedant. Now I would like to call upon the Tech Master to kindly share the video of Toastmaster Ritvik of his evaluation of our speaker 2, Toastmaster Rashmi Sikri. Sorry.
Punctuality, a blessing. When we being a person who goes to YMCA period all the time during Tuesday evenings, I guess this was a lesson that I should take away from. Or maybe everyone can also take away. Sorry for the background noises. Due to the fact I was really inspired by some of my previous speakers to not to give up every time I wanted. So this is the reason I'm here to give my evaluation no matter what. So let me tell you, when her speech, the content which was very relevant, had a lot of takeaways for all of us.
A request from the virtual audience. Were you able to hear the sound in the video?
Yes, we were able to hear, although there was a lot of disturbance, but sound was on.
All right, then we can play if we were able to hear.
We can ask Pooja also.
All the time during Tuesday evenings, I guess this was a lesson that I should take away from. Or maybe everyone can also take away. Sorry for the background noises. In fact, I was really inspired by some of my previous speakers to not to give up every time I wanted. So this is the reason I'm here to give my evaluation no matter what. So let me tell you, when her speech, the content which was very relevant, had a lot of takeaways for all of us, gets channeled through her voice clarity, voice modulation, hand gestures, I believe that gives a great impetus and takes us to where she was from where we are in the meeting. So, for example, they started requesting the principal, but so the way she uses a different sense of hand gestures and a voice modulation for saying they're requesting the principal and then she moves out the hand, this shows the transition of feelings and the play of pace and power, which adds stars to her speech and it helps us understand what she actually wanted to. Take the help of parents, the teachers, this shows numbers which she is using her hands for. Numbers of stakeholders in the particular scenario, something we are able to get. 5 to 10 students moved in. So this movement of hands is actually paving the way for their movement, which is super for our to comprehend what she wanted to take forward. But because in Toastmasters we believe in making a speech great the next time, so here is something I believe if you could have used your hands when in earlier years when you were saying nothing reached, everything reached deaf ears. So you could have said it like this: everything reached deaf ears. Something like that. Not only that, maybe I as a spectator was unmasked. Maybe a sudden change of pace and power at this particular moment could have actually made this speech better. Or a role play of characters would also have great impact on this. So to summarize, I believe great voice clarity, voice modulation, way of using hand gestures, audience awareness using the speaking area, and to improve upon a role play and using voice modulation at certain parts. This will surely give an impetus to your speech over the pitch. Punctuality.
Thank you so much, Ritvik, for that effort. What I understand, Toastmaster Ritvik was traveling and was not able to deliver a live evaluation. I hope we can find some value after the meeting from that video because the sound was not clear enough here. In a very brief way, Toastmaster Rashmi, she showed the attributes of an experienced speaker. She started with a question, built a story, started with shown a climax where her daughter was facing some issues due to time mismanagement, and eventually she showed the message where we need to understand that punctuality is the way to go. She also delivered or shown us 3 solutions how we can do it. The speaker was 10 on 10 on these remarks. What I would like to challenge the speaker to do next is maybe try showing this value of punctuality to a complete story instead of a generalized format of story and then the message. So that could be a challenge which you can take up to improve your skills and take things to the next level. That's all. Back to you, Toastmaster Pooja.
Thank you, Toastmaster Karanveer. So can I please request the Tech Master to raise the ballet for the best speaker?
The ballots are in the WhatsApp group. The ballots for the best evaluators have also been shared. We can proceed ahead, Toastmasters Buddha.
Okay, thank you. So, talking about the speech evaluator, Toastmaster Vedant, I felt that the speech was evaluated on the objectives by the speaker. Commendations and recommendations were quite helpful and meaningful. Also, the tone was very encouraging and on point, quite positive. So, no recommendations for him. And Toastmaster Ritvik for evaluating the speech of Toastmaster Rashmi. Overall, Toastmaster Ritvik evaluated the speech on the objectives. I really liked the way he used his hand gesture when he mentioned about fell in the deaf ear. So that was very nice, and also commendations and recommendations were very meaningful. So so there's no recommendation for Toastmaster Ritvik as well. And now moving on to the overall meeting of the speech, I would like to start with our Sergeant at Arms, who started the meeting on a very, very positive note. Also with that tongue twister, that was very interesting. Everyone was quite wide awake and energized everyone in the room. So great job there. The meeting started on time and guests were very warmly greeted. So great job done there, Toastmaster Navya. Then coming to our presiding officer, Toastmaster Karanveer Singh, followed a ritual of 30 minutes of silence. That was great. And also that was an inspiring opening when you mentioned about the timing of the reason, why you come, how you manage to come every day, every week for the meeting. That was quite inspiring. There were no excuses. Obviously, a lot of us, we have zillion reasons not to attend the meeting, but we can always find a reason to come and actually be there. So that was very inspiring. Coming to our TM Moody of the day, the theme of the day was really well chosen. Mind your language. And overall, throughout the meeting, there was a flow, there was a transition. Every role player kind of followed the meeting. Now I would like to call upon our tag team and auxiliary role players to mention about their reports. So to start with, I would like to call upon the timer of the day. Over to you.
Thank you, Jay. A very good evening once again to fellow Toastmasters and guests. The basic fundamentals of Toastmasters wasn't the attribute of the Toastmasters here was on display here because everyone was within the time range. And I will start with the Toastmaster Rashmi Sikri. She overcame and conquered the time limit, and she was within the time range, and her speech time was 6 minutes 50 seconds. Then TM Shanti, even though she had very less time to prepare, only about 30 minutes, she took only 5 minutes. She took the correct amount of time, that is 5 minutes and 46 seconds. TM Vedant did a fantabulous job with 1 minute 48 seconds. TM Ritvik sent a recorded message and which was on point for 2 minutes 30 seconds. Then if I come to the table topic speakers, then TM Apurva, TM Ankit, both of them did a great job. TM Rashmi, unlike Zenzi, was on time with 1 minute 45 seconds. TM Sanjit did a great job with 1 minute 30 seconds. Guest Astitu was not alien to keeping with the time limit, and he was on time as well. TM Namya did 1 minute 28 seconds. TM Anmol will definitely be famous for keeping within the time range of 1 minute 25 seconds. And then just Piyush was also within the time range with his Pardo Balish Shairi. And that's all from my side. Back to G.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mohit. Now I would like to call upon our parliamentarian Pradyuman for his report.
Wow, what an event has it been today. So, as for my report, the cameras were kept on for the most part of the meeting. There were no unwanted noises of dogs barking or parents shouting at their children. Everyone kept their mics muted. No one indulged in any form of eating. Thank you. I would like to attribute success of the discipline and order of this meeting today to the theme of the day, as everyone was minding their language. Thank you.
Okay, so now I would like to call upon the table topic Toastmaster Navya to evaluate table topics.
Thank you, General Evaluator. So today, I personally love the table topic segment. The topics were really interesting, and I think everyone enjoyed as well. So the speaker number 1, TM Apurva, was really confident and did not use even a single filler word in her speech, and was within the time limit as well. Then TM Ankit used proper hand gestures while delivering here and gave proper pauses in between, and the voice modulation was perfect as well on where to the voice modulation was perfect. Then TM Rashmi, as always, was flawless, gave her speech with a perfect smile on her face, and the camera was also, the angle of the camera was perfect. Then TM Sanchit, his speech was really funny and I enjoyed it. Then guest assistant, I would say that I love the way of communicating that he used, and kudos on coming to the physical stage in a first meeting as a guest, because I never had the courage to do that when I first attended the meeting as a guest. Then TM Anmol, I wanted to say him personally as well after the meeting, but I noticed that he was extremely confident today, even in his auxiliary role speech, and also in the table topic segment, as compared to the past week since he has joined the club. So kudos on that, team and role. Then the last guest, Piyush, his speech was really humorous, and I think everyone loved it. So did I, and he was confident as well. So that's all with my report. Thank you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Navya. Now I would like to call upon our accounter of the day, Toastmaster Kanav.
So my report goes like this. TM Karanvi, use of R 2 times. TM Girish, use of R 3 times. TM Mohit, use of R 1 time. TM Prashita, use of R 2 times. TM Navya, use of R 2 times. TM Sanchit, use of R 3 times. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Kanav. Now I would like to call upon our language evaluator / grammarian, Toastmaster Deepak Menon.
Good evening once again. Good evening. Have you enjoyed the meeting so far? Well, the enjoyment factor is going to grow now because I'm here. This has been such a fabulous meeting. The amount of good usage can be now reported by me for the rest of this meeting and for more time. So are you prepared to have dinner here? What do you say? Okay, so I'm going to summarize my report and tell you what I thought were the best usages that I heard today in this meeting. It's all started by our Sergeant at Arms with her tongue twisting twister, which captured my attention immediately. And the wonderful way in which some of our members were able to demonstrate how good they were with tongue twisters. So good job there. And then, of course, our Toastmasters of the day talked about the tongue is twisted and turned, twists and turns of the English language. And he had such wonderful words, just syntax and semantics. He talked about being just a speck in the evolutionary timeline. He talked about how language can destroy generations or build civilizations. So fabulous usage. Very, very vivid indeed, I must say. Speak of the devil, the idioms were flowing. Speak of the devil, shoot from the hip, calling a spade, indeed fantastic. We also had some great usage from others, such as intricacies of the English language, asking someone to break a leg, eating certain words. It takes two to tango. Then words like validation, wordsmith, and a very interesting usage. Googled for the information. Now, we've started using Google as a verb, whereas actually Google is a proper noun. So we search for information, we don't Google for the information. This now become like Xerox, where photocopying has become Xerox, right? So Googling is colloquial, while the correct way would have been searching. Of course, we use Google all the time. That's like our mother that we go to for knowledge. But sometimes we need to be careful how we use our words. Then the other usages that I really enjoyed were agha. Chills ran down my spine. Time and tide wait for none. Come out with flying colors. All your crimes are condoned. And then, of course, the interplay between interdependence and independence. I quite like that too. Then, of course, we had pyrotechnics and esoteric, and finally, the Ankit universe. We did have very little usage, which, in my opinion, was incorrect. But there were some areas that we can work on and improve. For instance, when our counter was reporting, he said the use of R was 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Instead, you can say the R was used 1, twice, thrice, rather than 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. We heard about wait at airport. So, well, it's waiting at an airport rather than wait at airport. So the use of the article and sometimes we miss the use, sometimes we put it in the incorrect place altogether. For instance, give a 1 or 2 year time. Instead, it could have been give 1 or 2 years of time. Our timer talked about he would flash the green card or the yellow card or the red card. The better usage would have been he would display the green, yellow, or red card at the appropriate time. Again, there was a reference to our airport. Enjoy our airport. So what do we enjoy about the airport? It's the experience, right? So it should have been more appropriate to say enjoy our airport experience. We are belonging to was a usage I heard. Instead, it needed to have been we belong to. Then another usage I heard, a phrase I heard was question had gone in my mind. The correct usage would have been I have been pondering on this question, or in my mind I've pondered this question. The word prefer was pronounced as prefer. So prefer is the preferred pronunciation of the word prefer. It's appropriate to translate the Hindi word into English. मैं पल दो पल का शायर हूँ, मैं पल दो पल मेरी कहानी है, something like that, right? Something used. So better translation into English would probably have been I am a minute or two poet for a minute or two. My life is for a minute or two. But it's always better that when we are using Hindi words from the lecture, we need to ensure that we translate it for the rest of the audience who perhaps may not understand the Hindi that we're using or any other language that we may be using. The icing on the cake today was indeed the use of the word of the day. And I attribute it to my success as the language evaluator in clearly explaining the use of the word of the day attribute and of course attribute. Nobody used attribute, but all of the members who used attribute were Girish, our Toastmaster Sabri Girish, I call him lovingly Girish. So Girish used it 4 times. Rashmi used it 4 times as well. So these are the highest scorers. We had Pradyuman with 2 usages of this, Anmol once, Parshita once, Karanveer once, and Mohit once. And of course, I've used it a few times myself. So altogether, we've had 17 uses of the word of the day. Something of a record, I must say. My friends, I would like to leave you with one little tip. There are times that when we come here on the stage, we are somewhat confused, somewhat challenged, somewhat wondering how do we start speaking. And the first thing that emerges from our mouth is so. Have you noticed that? Many of us are guilty of starting our sentences or starting whatever we want to say with so. Eliminate the so. So may come within the sentence, but never should it be used to start the sentence. I wish you all the best as you continue to work on your grammar and use it to the best extent possible. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Deepak Menon. There is always so much to learn from you. Going back to our Toastmaster of the day, the theme was great. Thank you so much. There was a lot of learning that happened today. Also, the meeting rules were explained really well. Speakers were properly introduced. The topic masters were properly introduced. Thank you so much. Coming to our timer of the day, Toastmaster Mohit. I think the rule was explained really, really well, and the time was properly read out. So that was a great job done there. Absolutely no recommendations. Great going, Mohit. Then comes our counter of the day, Toastmaster Kanav. Again, the role was well explained. The reports were delivered well with all the number counts. And the tone was quite encouraging. That does encourage that even though the Toastmasters have made mistake, they can always improve and work upon it. Coming to our table topic master, Toastmasters Parshita Verma. The table topic section was very well organized and explained. The guests were invited to participate. They were quite encouraged, in fact, to participate. Preferences were given to audience members who did not have a role to speak. So that did give everyone the opportunity to be a part of the meeting. And obviously the timings were followed as per the agenda. So great job, Toastmasters Parshita. With this, I would like to hand the stage to our TMOD of the day. Thank you again.
I have the last job here to call Anmol, who was the listener of the day, to come out and ask the questions that he has already had with him to the audience.
So I hope everybody has kept their ears open today. So, okay. So I'll start with a simple question. Okay, I'll use so many times.
CM Navya's favorite movie genre? Anybody? Comedy. Okay, but somebody needs to raise his hand. Okay, since you already said it, I'll use. What is CM Navya's favorite movie? Which she just mentioned. CM Karni. This time is not here.
To all the boys I have asked before.
Yes, correct. Okay. So, who among the meetings is a blogger? Yes, correct. Who? Okay, so who is the one member who can't cook? CM Shanti. Yes, correct. Okay. Okay, so what is CM? What kind of movies is CM Ankit interested in? Can you have again from virtual audience? Okay, sure. Anybody from the virtual audience?
Please unmute yourself and tell the answer.
Anybody?
Yes. No.
Okay, sir, go ahead.
We like all the Superman, Marvel movies.
That's correct. Okay, so what was CM Pragati's friend that she mentioned in the story? What was the name that she mentioned in her speech? We have Sparshita. Go ahead, unmute yourself.
Pushpa.
Yes, correct. I think we're done with the question. Thank you, Anmol. I am sure that from what he has said, we know that he has heard everything properly. Here and now, isn't it? Here and here. Another opponent. There we are almost at the verge of the end of the meeting. We have had an excellent run so far. As Deepak had mentioned, we had a profusion of good usages today. And it allied with the theme of the day, the mind your language. And as I was telling one of the evaluators today, one of the role players today, Pradyuman, we were sharing the days when I was young. We were introduced to an old BBC serial called Mind Your Language. Surprisingly, though from the Jurassic age, I could find someone in the current age who actually had heard about it. So I would strongly recommend to learn the language in a very, very easy way and find the beauty of the language, however maddening it may be. And this is going to be one of the things that you should take it up to improve, to chisel, to sculpt the language till it becomes perfect whenever you occupy the stage. With that, it is time to say, God be with you. You must remember our favorite parting face of goodbye came as an acronym in 1836 from May God be with you. God be with you has the one which finally became goodbye. So, and therefore, I bid farewell to the stage as I invite the president of Central Delhi Toastmasters Club to come on stage and to handle the closure of today.
Can we have a huge round of applause for a wonderful TMOD? This has been one of those meetings where I'll go back to the recording and see how the TMOD tool is done and how a language evaluator tool is performed. And there were so many learnings. There were so many moments of excitement when the table topic speakers came up. They were so interesting that sometimes I felt like leaving my work over and listening to them all and over again. Now it's time for me to announce the result. But before announcing the result, the polls for the best auxiliary role player and the best role players are in the WhatsApp group. I would request all of you to go and vote. We will take 20 seconds to do that. If you are done with the votes, you can keep the phone back in the pocket and we can continue. Thank you very much everyone for voting. Now it's time for the result. Who do you think was the best speaker? Was it our veteran Toastmaster Rashmi Sikri from the virtual stage, or was it Toastmaster Shanti who took up the role 20 minutes ago? The physical stage says Toastmaster Shanti. What does the virtual stage say? Please feel free to unmute yourself and tell the answer. I'll assume you are saying in your mind it was
whatever. TM Karan, wait a minute. Whatever may be the result, but kudos to TM Shanti for her attribute of delivering the speech and the sport. Great job.
Yes, indeed, it was Toastmaster Shanti who was on it. Who do you think was the best table topic speaker of the day? The table topic poll results were very interesting. It was guest Piyush who has won it. The first runner-up in the best table topics was Toastmaster Rashmi with just one less vote. The best auxiliary role player of the evening.
TM Mohit, timer.
Well, as the results are
it can be a tie between TM Deepak also.
Toastmaster Rashmi, how do you know the result? Well, indeed, it is a tie between Toastmaster Mohit, a timer, and a language evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster Deepak. Let me tell you how the results came up. When there was one vote, there was one winner. 2 votes, tie. 3 votes, single winner. 4 votes, tie. And after 16th vote, there was again a tie. Now, who do you think was the best evaluator today? Was it Toastmaster Vedant, or was it Toastmaster Ritvik and Toastmaster Karan together? Well, even if I believe we didn't understand the video well in the physical audience, but the virtual audience felt that, and the result indeed came out. The winner were Toastmaster Ritvik and Karan. Who do you think was the best role player of this evening? Was it TMOD? The physical stage says TMOD. What does the virtual stage say?
TMOD.
Well, indeed, it is TMOD. That was all about results. This is the last meeting of this renewal cycle we were currently in. For members to continue, who still haven't renewed their membership with us, you still have a time. You can reach out to VP membership as soon as possible. At the same time, there were some members in a club who have genuinely grown and moved to different cities and want to continue Toastmasters in maybe some different cities, or will rejoin later in their life. We wish them a huge success in their coming life. CDTM has always been your home. It will always be your home. Whenever you get some time, do join us online if you can. And if you are in Delhi, feel free to walk into the venue. You will find us all here meeting with the same energy, with the same clapping, and with the same laughter. That was all from my side. Thank you very much. I hereby end this meeting. We will meet next week, same time. May the God will be with you. May I request
Good night, everyone. Good night.
May I request Toastmasters Parshada to take a group picture in the virtual audience, please. Recording stop.